Hey everyone, today we have two important topics, the biggest Bybit hack and its consequences, as well as the new stablecoin regulation in the EU. We'll break down what happened with Bybit, why DEXs are back in the spotlight, and what projects should do with locked USDT liquidity after MiCA. Joining us today are two experts, Ilya Ilinsky, a compliance and crypto licensing specialist, founder of Crypto Penetration, and Alexander Mazaletsky, a blockchain development and security expert, security lead and co-founder at Null Return. I'm Natalie, CEO at Null Return. I'll be leading this conversation. Let's dive in. Alexander, could you briefly share what happened with Bybit?
First, Bybit was blamed for breaking security rules, but then it was clear that the problem was with the Safe's system. We don't know all the details. It was something about the transaction service that helps with multiple signature and fees. Bad people used this service to hack the system.
It looks like all the blame was placed on Safe. Do you think that's accurate?
The employers of Bybit, including the director, saw that the transactions looked correct in the user interface, but in reality, it was being sent to a malicious contract. Hackers exploited a vulnerability with the transfer function to update the safe contract, gaining full control over the wallet assets. So yes, the issue is definitely on the safe side.
But Safe positions itself as self-custody. Is that really the case?
Remember, Safe is a decentralized self-custody platform that lets users send transactions like normal on the Ethereum blockchain. But in the effort to make it more user-friendly, they might have created a bit of a risk. It might be vulnerable to hacks, and with all that money that Safe holds, it's something to think about.
Ilya, who bears the legal and financial responsibility, Safe or Bybit?
For both parties, with a big blow to their reputation, but since Bybit compensated the loss of funds, they do not bear any legal liability. But they have already suffered financially. In general, Bybit can be considered the injured party, but I do not think that they will actually make legal claims against Safe. Such large custody providers have good teams of lawyers and ensure their legal liability in advance with various policies.
Ilya, what could be the legal and reputational consequences for both Bybit and Safe, and who is likely to face more serious repercussions? Safe is more of a B2B solution, while Bybit is B2C, meaning that most exchange users might not even learn the real reason behind the hack. At the same time, headlines about the biggest crypto exchange hack will stick around for a long time.
Well, for Safe, of course, this is a big reputational damage. But yes, as you rightly noted, most users have no idea what Safe is. But my friends ask me not to send them money to Bybit. They say, let's try another exchange, please.
So in the case, it's all about capital flight and loss of trust. For Safe, the big players like exchanges are the heart of the business. They are very reason for being. If trust is shaken, those players might start looking for other options, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's remarkable and interesting that we're witnessing the laundering of funds in real time. Bybit asked Paraswap and the third chain Asgardex wallet team to return the fees earned during the hackers' laundering process. Ilya, how did they respond? And how legitimate are Bybit's demands?
In general, Bybit demands are legal, but the question is in which jurisdiction. If this exchange worked in the US, I think there would be no such problems with returns. But so it's not clear in which jurisdiction the crime occurred, and where when legally in which country the funds were laundered. In addition, the responsibility of the decentralized protocol contributors is distributed, so there are no effective sanctions for no return of funds yet. That's why they are not returned.
It feels like decentralization dilutes responsibility and creates a space for money laundering.
Yeah, and from a legal and ethical standpoint, could this be considered complicity in a crime?
Yes, indeed, it can. Of course, it depends on the country, and each country has a unique legislation on itself. However, basically, there must be criminal intent, an agreement between two or more people to commit a crime. Therefore, complicity in hacking is not suitable here, but money laundering is an ongoing crime. Good lawyers can prove at least laundering and at most profits from consequences of the hack.
I wonder who to complain to if everything is decentralized.
Yeah, could Asgardex or Paraswap face legal consequences for refusing to return the fees?
Definitely yes, but it will take time for regulators to state their position and law enforcement agencies of all countries where Bybit operates. This depends on the position of Bybit, where the exchange will want to punish protocols for this. So far, they apparently do not have such a goal.
So it turns out that the blame for the criminal actions is not only placed on the perpetrator, but also on service providers who unknowingly profited from the use of their platforms by criminals.
Yes, the main crime is hacking, but using the centralized protocols to launder funds after the hack is also a crime. And it's ongoing one. Investigating and punishing for this from point of view of Fed and US regulators is quite fair practice, as it happened with Tornado Cash case, actually.
Ilya, does the protocol contributors, the people directly involved in developing it, have any responsibility here? As far as I know, there have been cases in past with the Tornado Cash.
Yes, the Tornado Cash case or the SEC lawsuit against Uniswap Labs show that the centralized protocol contributors and those who stand behind them can be legally liable in the event of money laundering and any other legal claims. Tornado Cash was used to launder funds stolen by hackers from the Ronin protocol. And the developers of Tornado Cash, Alexey Pertsov, Roman Storm, Alexey Semenov, were accused in this case. This is the legal position of the US Treasury and OFAC. However, the Tornado Cash case fell apart in court when good lawyers appeared on the scene. And the entire American crypto industry started to defend them. But if Bybit wants, it can still use the Tornado Cash case practice to punish Paraswap, Asgardex, Torchain, and any other DEX stakeholders. By the way, the amount of the hack in Bybit case is comparable to Ronin protocol hack.
Ilya, is it even possible to take legal action against a decentralized protocol?
Of course you can. Crypto is already regulated in more than half of the countries in the world, which means that any operations with it, even criminal ones, can receive a legal assessment. A decentralized protocol usually has at least a website, as well as some kind of operating legal entities and team. All individuals and legal entities involved in the protocol can be held legally liable.
Seems like we're starting where we left off from a regulatory standpoint.
Yeah. Going back to the security of such major players, when you're handling billions in funds, how could security be strengthened? Could regulatory intervention help in this case?
Regulators still have few tools for prevention in relation to DeFi in particular, but they could facilitate a dialogue between IT professional experts and security auditors in the industry on one hand, and on the other, crypto business community. Here's perhaps the main new thing that can be highlighted: requirements for code audit through some legal act. This is what can really be done and what will have a positive impact on the industry practices.
This seems to be more than just one platform's problem. What trends could this trigger in the market? For example, how might crypto exchanges or payment management technologies evolve after this situation?
I'll probably repeat myself again, but I'll summarize to what I said earlier. The attack highlighted the importance of developing proprietary asset storage solutions as full trust in third-party tools like Safe carries risks, which is likely to lead to increased interest in independent storage and in-house development. In addition, multi-signature solutions will face technology revision and increase security requirements, and regulators will tighten measures to prevent such cases.
Yes, we will further go to tighten requirements for custody providers. A good solution would be to introduce insurance and mandatory security audits of both the custodian providers themselves and large crypto exchanges.
And what's happening with the stolen assets? Is anyone actively tracking them? And if yes, in which jurisdiction?
Yes, what I'm talking about is that Bybit is a large international exchange with tens of millions of clients around the world. It has licenses in Cyprus, Dubai, Kazakhstan, and only AFAC and the FBI are currently investigating the incident at public level. It's an issue.
Alexander, as a security expert, what would you recommend?
I think it's a good idea to always pay attention to security when it comes to crypto. The more projects focus on security, the less likely projects are to get hacked. As we can see, every week there are new and more sophisticated ways to attack. I always say that hackers have all the time in the world to find vulnerabilities, but auditors only have a few weeks.
Yeah, that's true. Ilya, could you briefly explain what MiCA and what the key changes are the regulation of stablecoins in the EU?
Yeah, MiCA stands for Markets and Crypto Asset Regulation. It's a legislative act that regulates everything related to cryptocurrencies in the EU countries. According to MiCA, stablecoin issuers must prove that they have sufficient liquidity to cover their obligations to users, and also they should pass through the procedure of financial audit, which they are not happy with.
What do you mean? Should stablecoins be backed by fiat reserves from projects, or how exactly?
The money must be kept in bank accounts. It's a special claim in the EU. Also, it should be clear that the issuers have money, that one crypto dollar is a dollar, and so on. Firstly, here in the EU approach is dangerous that there is a risk of bank run. So if the bank is bankrupt, then stablecoin emittent loses its funds. Also, the interest rates for bank deposits are significantly lower than on government bonds. That's why Tether and even Circle, both largest stablecoin emittents, don't like MiCA requirements, and Tether decided not to agree to such conditions, while Circle still agreed and got MiCA license.
Yeah. What about the new stablecoin laws in the US? What are the key points there?
Actually, in the US, everything is okay with the stablecoin emittent requirements. Just if the emission is up to $10 billion, then they need to get license from the Federal Reserve. And if amount of reserves is less, then it's enough to get a local license. And the main thing in US, stablecoin emittents can invest in treasury bonds, which is good for their business.
Alexander, do you have a question?
Ilya, what about decentralized stablecoins like DAI in this case? Do they fall under this regulation?
All stablecoins fall under MiCA, and not only USDT, but DAI also is delisted from European exchanges because it doesn't have a license. And moreover, it's algorithmic, and algorithmic stablecoins are probably illegal. And that's why exchanging delisting DAI.
Okay, thank you. What will be the difficulty is obtaining this license if the law is passed in the US?
Actually, no big difficulty for emittents that operate in the US for a long time, and they can invest in treasury bonds. What is the main thing they are worried about? However, the main difficulty here is availability of reserves and disclosure of all information, where the reserves are stored, who is the owner, their business structure. But I think that for these who have real business operation in the United States, like stablecoin issuers, it's not a big problem in comparison with EU requirements.
And what will this actually affect? I mean, will it become harder for Melanie Trump to issue meme coins or not?
For meme coins, everything is legal and no legal requirements. So it will become more difficult to issue coins tied to fiat currencies. It will be impossible to issue a stable coin without reserves. And for meme coins, in any way, there is no changes. And the SEC recently claimed that issuing meme coins without license, it's legal.
Okay. What other interesting trends in the field of crypto regulation do you see? What do you personally keep an eye on? And what would you recommend us to follow? Because we are not experts.
New jurisdictions outside of EU and US are opening up last 2 years, and countries that had no licenses practices create their crypto regulation framework. Turkey, South Africa, Kazakhstan, even India already has more than 50 WASP licenses. Also Latin America, countries like Argentina. Now you can legally work in most major markets in Asia and Latin America, the USA. So it's a big change for a very short time.
Honestly, it's not clear whether it's better or worse.
Returning to MiCA in Europe, is there an understanding of which protocols fall under EU regulation? How much USDT is locked there?
All protocols used by EU citizens and residents fall under MiCA requirements. And in theory, they will need to obtain a license in the EU, as well as all crypto providers, centralized crypto providers, I mean. But there is an Article 61 of MiCA, which allows servicing without license if the company doesn't conduct any marketing or promotional offer for European users. So in theory, if there is a website and this website of protocol doesn't make any marketing activities and the user enters website solely on his own initiative, this is legally allowed. However, European regulator ESMA is trying to interpret this article repressively. It recommends it to all crypto providers which don't have EU license ban European users by IP.
Really?
Yes, but the interpretation of MiCA, it's a tricky point. So some lawyers tell that really it's good to ban European users if you don't have license, but others, including some EU security advisors, people who also are working in government bodies, they recommend to continue operations, only stop marketing activities.
And what should protocols in the EU jurisdiction do if they face new regulations?
First of all, assess the risk. If possible, consult with lawyers. See if we're doing any marketing in the EU or something that can be interpreted as an offer of services. And if we do, then get a license or not. Moving to another jurisdiction can also be considered, for example, the USA. Here we must also take into account that the European market is very competitive. So if projects do not have a large audience in the EU, it may make sense to focus on other markets.
It feels like the crypto market is about to leave Europe, and it used to be the opposite.
Yeah, I agree. Sounds expensive and complicated. How may this affect the users of these projects? Who will bear these costs? The project themselves or the end users through increased fees or transaction costs?
Of course, DeFi protocols and regular exchanges can go so far and restrict their access altogether to your users as it's required by ESMA. But I think some protocols may interpret article of MiCA 61 as loyal to them and continue to operate without marketing. We will see.
Yeah. We will believe in brave protocols. Okay. And what advice and recommendations would you give to project in this situation? And who should they turn to for help with these issues? These are completely new conditions?
Yes, given current changes in regulatory policy, the main thing to pay attention to is the choice of jurisdiction. Now many projects are trying to move to regions that offer the most understandable legal framework for working with digital assets. Among the popular jurisdictions are Dubai, Hong Kong, USA, Switzerland. Within the EU, these are Cyprus, Malta, Netherlands, Poland. I would like to mention separately that on Crypto Penetration website, we have collected a large database of crypto regulation for 149 countries around the world, as well as information about relocation, opening entities procedure. So if you have any question, you can always contact me, and I will help you to choose the right jurisdiction and tell you about the details of regulation frameworks in it.
Yeah, reach out, Ilya. Alexander, if regulation becomes stricter and it becomes necessary to remove USDT, what risks will project and users face?
Updates on the global platform are always interesting, especially for people who want to find vulnerabilities. To stop them from breaking everything, we need to think about security and money. Before they do, we need to better than them.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, guys. That was a really helpful conversation. Hey, friends, if you have any questions or your project is dealing with new regulatory challenges, come join the discussion. Make sure to follow our accounts to stay up to date with the latest news. If you need advice on choosing a jurisdiction or experienced legal experts, feel free to reach out with Ilya and Crypto Penetration. And if you need a smart contract audit, Null Return is here to help. We had Ilya, the founder of Crypto Penetration, and Alexander and Natalie from Null Return with us. Thank you again, and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah, it was a cool conversation. See you later.
Bye. See you.